Hi everyone, I'm Brian Corsetti, hanging out with Pete Hammond, discussing what films are going to be at Deadline.com's Contenders Event happening on November 10th. A big day for Deadline, Pete. You got some big studio heads that are all going to be there discussing their films. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, this is our second year doing the Contenders Event, and last year we had a whole panel, brought all these studio heads together who normally don't talk to each other, and they all discussed strategy and things with each other in the room, and so we got a lot of insight into the Oscar process from the point of view of the major studios. This year we have a lineup of about 7 of them. Again, Jim Giannopoulos from 20th Century Fox, and we have Universal represented, and we have Warner Brothers represented, and we have Sony Pictures, Amy Pascal, and we have all the big studios, Rob Friedman from Lionsgate.
They're all going to be there talking, and what can we expect that's going to happen?
This year I've found that the major studios are coming back in a very, very big way into this race, and they all have their movies that they're targeting. And so we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about all these rule changes going on at the Academy. They're moving up the date of the nominations by 10 days.
Is that going to affect a lot of movies?
Yes, I think it's going to affect a ton of movies because it just gives the Academy voter, who is already hard-pressed to see these films, 2 weeks less to see these. And the voting period now falls December 17th through January 3rd. That is right in the heart of the holiday season when everybody's off doing other stuff. That's when the Academy expects members to vote on these movies that they haven't even seen. Right now, very few have even gone out on DVD screeners, and we have a month to go.
Are these studio heads voicing their opinions in regards to the change of dates?
Yes, some of the studio heads that we'll be talking to there, 2 of them in particular, are also on the Board of Governors that made this decision to move the dates earlier. So we'll hold them to the line on that. We'll talk with the others if this helps the race or if it hurts it. On the other end of it, they're making more time after the nominations are announced on January 10th, 6 weeks instead of 4, for members to see these movies that are nominated, and more importantly, for the public to see them so they have a vested interest in the race. And that's what's going to happen this year, and that, hopefully, from their point of view, is going to improve television ratings.
Now, these are a lot of prestigious films that are going to be discussing. What about other films that are crowd pleasers, like The Hobbit and The Dark Knight Rises? Where do you see those films in regards to nominations?
It's really tough, but you know the new rule of 10 nominees, we can have up to 10 nominees for Best Picture, came about because it's largely thought The Dark Knight was not nominated for Best Picture that year. So they changed the rule to try to include more of these popular movies. What we got was more indie movies, more prestige movies. We are still not getting the big popular movies. Every now and then we get a Lord of the Rings or something that's you know, going to get in. But generally a movie like The Dark Knight, and this year The Dark Knight Rises is back, is on an uphill climb here. And it's also the third in a series that Christopher Nolan's done. The other 2 were not nominated for Best Picture. That's unusual. In the case of Lord of the Rings, all 3 of those movies had Best Picture nominations, so they felt by the third one that it deserved to win. There was a difference, and it was all from the same director. So I think the movies that are leading the race here are movies like Argo, which has turned into a nice-sized hit, and that's Warner Brothers' big push, that one, Ben Affleck's movie. And then The Silver Linings Playbook, which is opening on November 21st, is also a fine comedy. I'm looking for a movie called The Impossible from Summit. It's a beautiful movie about the tsunami in Thailand and how a family, it's a true story, this family got separated from each other. Ewan McGregor and 2 of their kids, and Naomi Watts and the older kid. And they're separated, trying to find each other, and it's extraordinary acting, amazing effects, done the old-fashioned way in a water tank with models rather than CGI, from a great Spanish director, Juan Antonio Bayona. I think that one could get some traction in the indie marketplace here. A little movie called Bernie that came out last May.
That's with Jack Black
and Shirley MacLaine, a true story about this friendship between Bernie and supposedly the meanest woman in Texas, and he winds up murdering her, and he's in prison for this now. But this is a comedy, black comedy. And Jack Black is surprisingly great in it. And there's a big campaign on to win him an Oscar nomination, which he's never had. And, you know, people love it. Voters love it when you play against type. You know, we have Bill Murray this year as Franklin Roosevelt. You know, you never think of him as that.
Which, there's some interesting about, like, there's never been a president or an actor who played a president be nominated and win.
Yeah, that has never won. No president, you know, they may win elections, but they don't win Oscars. And so this year you have an unusual situation of Daniel Day-Lewis as Abraham Lincoln and Bill Murray as Franklin Delano Roosevelt, both with reasonable chances of getting in the mix there. Certainly Daniel Day-Lewis is the front runner at this point, and I think he could be the first to ever win playing a president.
What's the indie film where the guy is lost at sea with a tiger?
Oh, that's amazing. That's not an indie film, though. That's from 20th Century Fox and Ang Lee. It's called The Life of Pi, or Life of Pi.
Life of Pi, that's right.
Yeah, it's an amazing movie that takes the art and craft and science of motion pictures to the next level, much like Avatar did. And you are just astonished at the visuals they get with this tiger, and you don't know where the real tiger ends and the CGI tiger begins. And this kid on this boat after their boat sinks. It's a boat of zoo animals. And it's an extraordinary movie, very intense, and that will have appeal as well. Ang Lee is another favorite of the Academy. We've got a lot of these great directors that have won in the past coming back and sort of getting in a big fight with each other this year. Steven Spielberg, Ang Lee, Peter Jackson, and these are past winners. And so it'll be interesting to see. I think the year has come along in the last 3 months of the year. The first 6 months, the first 9 months really, there wasn't much to choose from. But now we're seeing the so-called Oscar prestige movies that the Academy likes, and the Academy loves prestige. They love costume dramas. Anna Karenina, you know, has a shot. Those kinds of movies. And then, of course, the big one that we haven't seen yet is Les Miserables. And that one is the movie version of the great Broadway musical with Hugh Jackman and Anne Hathaway, and everybody's saying this could be the one. It's from Tom Hooper, who won the Oscar for The King's Speech. So that's one that we haven't seen yet that we're still looking forward to. And Zero Dark 30, the most mysterious movie of the year from Catherine Bigelow, who did The Hurt Locker, and it's about the hunt for Osama bin Laden. We haven't seen that yet either.
Let's talk about animation.
Yes.
There's a lot of great animated movies that are out. Tell us the highlights, tell us which ones you think.
Well, this year it's a real race because you've got these rivals. The book that Lincoln's based on is called Team of Rivals. Here we have real rivals with Disney and DreamWorks Animation, which is run by Jeffrey Katzenberg, who used to be at Disney. And so now you have Disney breaking up their little labels with the Pixar movie Brave, the Tim Burton movie Frankenweenie, and this terrific Disney animation, pure Disney animation movie, bringing that back, called Wreck-It Ralph, which did so well this weekend, $50 million, and got top critical reviews. It's really a fun movie. Those three are going to duke it out, and they're all the same studio. That means they're going to split their votes within that studio. And then DreamWorks wants only to put all of its money right on Rise of the Guardians, which is a beautifully made movie based on these books, and it's sort of the Avengers of animation. It teams Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy and Jack Frost, and they all go after the bad guy, the Boogeyman. So it really is all these iconic characters.
It's a perfect movie.
Yeah.
Kidding?
So we have that, and then we have from Focus, we have a picture called Paranorman, which
did okay. That did really good.
It did okay. It's a really clever movie. And you know, Universal's in the mix with the Lorax, and Fox has got another Ice Age movie. The studios are really energized by the animation.
It's the bottom of the ninth. Bases are loaded. We're ready to go into awards season.
We are, and these are some of the things to look for as we hit the holiday season and the real crunch begins.
Well, Pete, thank you very much. For more on the Contenders event, check out Deadline.com, all happening on November 10th. And for more on Pete, you can look him up on Twitter at Deadline Pete. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm Brian Corsetti. We'll see you next time.
I'm Haley Steinfeld, and you're watching ENTV.
Hi, my name is Kieran Shipka, and you're watching ENTV.
Aubrey Plaza, ENTV. I just touched it with my mouth, sorry.